So you need a knife sharpener, you don't know which one to buy, why buy one at all? How about we just make one? Sharpening knives, it's all about the bevel. One of the ways you can flatten that bevel out without taking it to a professional knife sharpener is just make a jig. What the jig is going to do is going to hold the blade in place at a fixed position. It's going to hold your abrasive at a fixed position, so when you drag it across the edge, the bevel, it's going to flatten that out. It's going to be the same angle every time. You use this jig to repair your knife if you've dropped it or damaged the edge, or if you just want to change the angle. Or maybe you're just OCD, you just want to make sure that that blade is sharp and perfectly flat on that bevel every time you sharpen it. I don't know. But hey, it's up to you how you want to use it and how often you want to use your jig. Now that I've showed you how to sharpen a knife real quick on a sharpening stone, as you can see, it's easy and it's very, very simple to use. How about we do the next thing in this project, is make the jig so you can then flatten the bevel on your knife and keep that bevel and that blade nice and sharp. As you can see behind me, I got plenty of scrap wood, so let's find a piece of wood we can start working with and making this jig. And as we go through, we'll go through the dimensions and we'll walk you through the process. Alright, looks like we found some oak that we're going to use. So for this project, we're going to start off with making the base. We're going to make the base 10 inches long, and we're going to make it out of a 1x3. Okay, we've got the base cut 10 inches. Next thing we're going to cut is going to be this upper part here, which is going to clamp down and hold the blade to the base. And that piece we're going to cut out of this 1/4 inch oak. Got our base cut, and we've got the top part for the clamp cut to hold our knife in place. How these two pieces are going to fit together, you have your base, this is going to go on top, and we'll drill 2 holes through the top, into the base, we'll put some threaded inserts in, that'll hold this firmly in place as a clamp for the knife so the knife doesn't move when we start using the sharpening jig. So we can make this thing adjustable. We can change the different heights, so we can change the angle. So if we want to change the angle on our blade, on the bevel, we can do that by simply moving the screw up or down. So we can use some all thread up through here so we can attach the nuts in this little bracket to hold the guide for your sharpening to your sharpening block that's going to hold your sandpaper to create that bevel. So what we want to do now is we're going to cut a little piece right here, this little piece right here, so we can add it to our base to give a little extra support for that all thread. Now that we have our little block for our stability for our all thread, we just cut that to 1 inch, and we're going to put it so it ingrains up. So it's going to be 1 inch high, it's going to be 2.5 inches wide. We're just going to simply make some marks on our base here so we know where to orientate our pieces. This is going to be flush to the edge. And this, let's put about 3 inches from the back. That way we have some place we can put a clamp if we need to later on. That's what we're looking like so far. The next part of this project is we're going to cut this little block here to put on our awl thread. It's going to hold the eyelet. It's going to hold the guide rod for our sharpening piece. And for this block piece, we're going to cut it approximately 1.5 inches here to here. And the thickness is about 1/2 inch. I will recommend when you're cutting small pieces like this that you use some kind of backer on the back of your saw. I'm just going to use a little piece of scrap. I know it's already square and straight flush, so I know that when I make my cut will be square across. Next part of this equation, now we have the little block. We're going to use another little eyelet. This eyelet's going to be able to accommodate a 1/4 inch dowel rod, which is oak, so it can slide through, just like this for a guide. Now the piece we just cut, we cut it 1.5 inches to accommodate it going in, the eyelet going in, and then we can have room over here to drill a hole in for our awl thread to go through. So now we're going to mark our spot for our awl thread. Let's get that drilled out. While we're doing that, we're going to drill a pilot hole for our eyelet. The awl thread that we're using is 1/4 thread, and we measured out for our little space for our eyelet, and to find out the center where we're going to put that hole for the awl thread, all we did is make a little X pattern. So we used a 1/4 inch drill bit to drill that hole. I didn't want to make it, use a 1/4 inch drill bit to drill that hole. I wanted to make it nice and tight. I didn't want a lot of play or a lot of slop. Next thing I'm going to drill is for the eyelet. Alright, so now we got that drilled, let's get it fitted in. There it goes, it works. So for this thing to work, we will not put this in the center, because if we do, then we'll be way off with our guide rod. So for this thing to work, we have to offset it enough so that our guide rod will be in the center, close there to it. Alright, slight deviation plans. Because the length of the wood plus the eye, if we put that in there, we're not going to be able to get the awl thread to go into our block and have our eye over the center. So to correct that, simply went into the side here. We'll then run our awl thread through, and we'll then put it into our block like so, making sure the eye is in the center. We're just gonna eyeball it up, make it look good. Mark. Okay, because we want this to fit snug in this hole, the all thread, we'll go with a little bit smaller drill bit because we don't want it to be playing around and being loose. We're trying to draw that guide rod back and through that eyelet. And this is how it's all going to line up. Eyelets will be right in line. If we want it, guide rod will come through. Next is the top plate. Get the key going on with our theme of 1/4-20. We got 1/4-20 threaded inserts. And our top plate, we can go 1.5 inches from here to here, and approximately 5/8 from outside to inside, this being the center of our screws. And we'll drill through to the center on our plate for all threads. Now these threaded inserts for the drill bit, you should use a 11/32 drill bit. For a 1/4-20, we'll use a 1/4 inch drill bit. This next step, we're going to clamp both the top plate to the base, and then from there we're going to drill the 1/4 inch holes all the way through, and that'll give us our center for the 11/32 drill bit to drill the base for the threaded inserts. Okay, we got thread inserts put in. We got all our pieces cut, drilled. I think we're ready to start putting this thing together and finishing it up. Okay, I've taken the liberty of drilling and countersinking a pilot hole for our little block to hold our all thread. I'm going to glue that up. I'm going to put the screw through it to help hold it in place while that glue dries. All right, I do feel a little loose. I didn't have the correct size drill bit that I needed. That's okay, I can fix that. Take a little bit of masking tape. That's about how deep it is. Just like using pipe thread. All right, next. Since this It's more important that we keep this from falling down after we adjust it and put it in place. So we'll put 2 nuts on there to lock it in. I end up going back just gluing the nuts to the block with super glue. That way we don't have to worry about keeping it tight enough. It goes there. Come back and shorten these. See how we're looking. All right, we've installed threaded inserts. Got our top plate on. Got screws in. Let's see if it'll hold the knife. It holds. Getting close to completion now. So next thing we're going to do, we're going to build this guide arm. And this little block that we're going to attach sandpaper, get that assembled, and then we'll start getting the angles set up and see how she works. Let's do a little quick measurements here, see how long we're going to need to make our rod. We're using a 1/4 inch dowel rod for this. Just see how far we go to our end. You don't want to come all the way through, come all the way out, because we have some wood attached to our block. Make our block maybe this long. So we'll cut it right about here. That should give us enough room. All right, we drilled the hole with center, offset from the center down the side, and it should fit the dowel just fine. I'm not going to glue the dowel in because I have another block. I can get 1, 2 sides, 3, 4, and I can put sandpaper on each side so I can increase the grit 4 times per block. So what I'll do is I'll come back and either drill a hole on the other side or same one on this one so I can switch the 2 different grits. Be using from 320 grit down to 2000 grit. The 2000 grit is going to put a mirror finish on your edge. And when I measured for the block, I simply took a piece of the sandpaper, used it as a measuring utensil, and then left a little bit on each side so I could have some room. All right, this is the one we made. And this is the original one that I made. And all we did was just take the same idea and concept, modified it, and made it a little bit better. So for daily knife sharpening, I'll always go to my old trusty sharpening stone. Can't beat it, it's quick, it's easy, in and out the door. But when that edge starts rolling and it's not holding the edge that I want to keep it, I'll definitely start switching over to my sharpening jig to flatten that edge out and or change the contour of that bevel. So thanks for watching. I hope you come back again.